We're back for our college football predictions here for week 18 of the college football season. We just concluded the first round of the college football playoffs, and we did fairly well with the first round of the playoffs. Other than the Oklahoma-Alabama game, we swept the board on the playoffs. We had Miami's covering, we had Tulane getting blown out, and we had JMU covering. Shout out to the Dukes for the tremendous backdoor cover. And all around, we've been pretty good so far during bowl season. We've hit on every single bowl game so far, except for the 68 Ventures Bowl and the Cure Bowl. So we've been pretty good so far, and that includes the first week of bowl games as well, with the LA Bowl, the Celebration Bowl. We've swept the FCS playoffs going now into the championship game, and that'll be talked about later. But this week, with no college football playoffs action, we've got 16 bowl games throughout the week, of course, through Christmas and past, obviously, the 25th. And then next week, we'll be back on Monday like we are every single week for our weekly college football predictions, and that will include the next week's bowl games, plus the college football playoffs as well. Now, of course, that we have Miami versus Ohio State, Oregon versus Texas Tech, Alabama versus Indiana. I can't wait for that one. And then Ole Miss versus Georgia to close it out. And then again, bowl games on top of that as well next week. Okay, folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more college football predictions here on the channel. Also in the channel, daily, our college basketball and NBA best bets. So go make sure to check those out every single morning on the channel as well. And NFL predictions will be coming out in a couple days as well on Christmas Eve. So you're not going to want to miss that video as well. Okay, on to the first of our 16 bowl games for week 18 of the college football season. Let's kick things off first with Louisville taking on Toledo in the Bush's Boca Raton Bowl on Tuesday. Obviously, earlier today, we had the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. I'm recording this before that game happened, so I don't know. I think Utah State won. I don't know. Anyways, Louisville versus Toledo kicks off the bowl week tomorrow, and I'm going to be going with the Louisville Cardinals to not just win, but to likely embarrass Toledo. I think this is going to be a blowout. Now, unfortunately, we have to look at the transfer portal quite a bit now with the bowl games, because at this point, we have a good idea of who's transferring out, who's declaring for the portal. And for Louisville so far, not many guys in the portal. Toledo, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't have that deep of a portal. Yeah, they don't barely have any guys in the portal either. So then we have to look at certain teams and say, okay, which seniors aren't going to play? So from what I have seen as of Sunday, Miller Moss is playing. That's what I've seen on the internet. So Miller Moss should be going for Louisville. And I don't get the whole mindset of seniors not playing in bowl games unless you're a first round pick. If you're a first round pick, I get it. I remember when Sam Hartman sat out a bowl game for Notre Dame, and he did all that to become a 7th round pick. And sure, he made it. He's a practice squad guy for years out now, for multiple years with the Washington Commanders. But if you're a low round pick, why wouldn't you play the bowl game? If anything, it's just going to rise your draft stock a little bit. So anyways, from what I have seen, Miller Moss is going to be playing in the Boca Raton Bowl. And guys, Louisville should absolutely dice up Toledo in this game. They're 7-point favorites for a reason, which is fair, but my goodness, this should not be a competitive football game. Louisville is much better than the Toledo Rockets. Toledo was a 8-4 team in the MAC. Louisville was an 8-4 team in the ACC. This is the type of game you see at the beginning of the year, and we've seen Louisville against already the best G5 team in the country, and that was proven when they scored 34 points in Eugene. Louisville beat James Madison 28-14. And now they're only 7-point favorites against Toledo. A Toledo team led by Tucker Gleason. Gleason has had an all-right year. I'll be honest, I expected a little bit more out of Tucker Gleason. He was just okay in my opinion. He's been a long-term starter for Toledo. This is his senior year. Took over for DeQuan Finn a couple seasons ago. I don't know. Gleason was okay. He wasn't great. And Toledo, again, an 8-4 team. Their run game has been all right throughout the course of the season. They did finish the year on a 4-game winning streak, beating Northern Illinois, going to Oxford and beating Miami of Ohio, beating Ball State, and then beating Central Michigan. But again, not too impressed. I'm going to go Louisville. I believe Gleason's playing. I know he's dealt with some injuries, and they went to Caleb Osborne for their last game. I think Gleason is going to play, or at least Osborne got to play at the end of their game against Central Michigan. I believe it is Gleason. I'm going to go Louisville. I don't really care who plays quarterback for Toledo, honestly, guys. Louisville just beat Kentucky 41-0. Say what you want about the Wildcats this season. They were better than Toledo. It's just one of these weird matchups. I don't think Toledo has the firepower to win this football game. And sure, right, the G5 last year held their own in bowl season. And obviously that was Toledo, and they beat Pittsburgh in the Games Above Sports Bowl. Way different scenario, man. extremely different. Pittsburgh last year, started 7-0 and they finished 7-5. Just a completely different circumstance. Louisville does have a big victory over Miami earlier this year, and it's not like they're going into this game ice cold. They did lose 3 in a row, but then they went on to beat Kentucky in their final game of the season and beating an SEC team by 41 points. Yeah, I'm going to take that. I'm going to go with the Louisville Cardinals to win this football game and cover the 7 points here in the Bush's Boca Raton Bowl in, of course, Boca Raton, Florida. On now to our second bowl game of the week, and let's go now to the New Orleans Bowl, as we go, of course, to New Orleans, Louisiana, and the Superdome for the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers taking on the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. I'm going to go with WKU. Southern Miss has a new coach. It's a completely new, well, obviously, again, this season they had the Marshall coach, and now Southern Miss has completely turned it around yet again. Their coach leaves, so they bring in, I forget the name, but Blake Anderson is the new head coach of the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. He was the OC this season, but still, you're going to get a lot of guys leaving. Southern Miss does have some guys in the portal. Charles Huff now goes to Memphis, and in the span of 3 years, Charles Huff goes from Marshall to Southern Miss to Memphis. He keeps on leveling up, I guess you can say, in the ranks of college football, so good on him. But Southern Miss, I believe, has some opt-outs in this game, and just in general, too, they've been playing very poor football to close the year. Southern Miss, this was a hot team in the Sun Belt. They were 7-2 at one point, and I kept saying that was the team JMU might struggle against. They had a matchup scheduled against Troy for the final game of the regular season, and that was the Sun Belt West Championship game. And sure, Troy had completely fallen apart as well with Goose Crowder and Tucker Kilcrease, so whoever the hell is playing quarterback for that team. Anyways, Southern Miss loses 3 straight games to lose the Sun Belt West, and now here they are stuck in the New Orleans Bowl at 7-5. I'm old enough to remember when the New Orleans Bowl actually used to be, if I'm not mistaken, it used to be, CUSA versus MAC champion used to be? I think it was, or is it Sun Belt? Sun Belt versus CUSA champion, I believe it used to be, but obviously that's been scrambled now. Braylon Braxton was the starting quarterback this entire season for the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Put up big numbers. I've always thought Braxton is pretty solid. Led them to a Sun Belt championship last season, not at Southern Miss, but for the regime, I guess, for Charles Huff and company. They won at Marshall, and that was just a weird circumstance all year long for Southern Miss, right? They were just Marshall, and all of Marshall's guys followed their coach over, and they obviously all played at Southern Miss. It's just this team fell apart as the season went on. They were so great early, and then Braylon Braxton got injured. They had to play their backup quarterback against Texas State. They got blown out. Braylon Braxton comes back to play against South Alabama, and don't let that score confuse you. They only lost the game by 7 points. They were getting beat down in that game, and it was just a desperation, comeback that ultimately, was close, but they ended up losing the game by 7 points. And then that Troy game at the end of the season, you're healthy now. Braylon Braxton, we can assume, kind of pushed back to play the South Alabama game. I think he was relatively close to full health in the Troy game, and they didn't play well. They couldn't move the ball that much. Defensively, they have not been good. I think WKU beats this team down. I think Western Kentucky's still a really solid team out the CUSA. Yes, they dropped their last game to Jack State, but don't forget, they only lost to LSU by 3 points. I know they were down 10 for most of that game, or at the end of the game, and they had the fumble recovery for a touchdown, but don't forget, they were close against LSU, and I was making the case at the time, if they had beaten LSU and beaten Jack State and won the CUSA, they probably should have been a playoff team, and I still remain on that fact. Anyways, Rodney Tisdale has taken over from Maverick McVlora earlier in the year. Tisdale's been good. They are 3-2 with him as the starter. WKU's been able to move the football a bit, though. Defensively, they are shaky at times, but this is a team that just puts up numbers every single game. Maverick, again, was airing it out pretty much every single game they had. Tisdale is kind of a different quarterback, but does have an arm on him as well. I like WKU quite a bit. I've always liked this team. I think defensively, again, they are a little bit of a mess, depending on the game, but no, I don't really think Southern Miss is going to be that tough a game for them, honestly. Just both teams struggled at the very end of the year. But, I mean, WKU was competitive. They had LSU and then they had Jack State, though. And they went to Jack State and lost the game by 3 points that they were favored in. It is what it is. I'm going to go with the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, though, to win this game. I assume Tisdale's still playing from what I have seen. I do need to check the portal again on these guys because, as I checked yesterday, WKU was pretty set in the portal, but this changes every single day. Okay, so WKU does not have pretty much anybody in the portal. Southern Miss, not yet. I just don't know who's going to opt out and which guys are going to declare for Memphis. But at the same time, if their OC's staying, maybe some guys stay at Southern Miss. It's just, this is the weirdness of college football, right? We kind of have to guess where these players are going to go. These guys who won a Sun Belt last year at Marshall, they all go to Southern Miss, and now their OC's staying at Southern Miss, but their head coach is going to the Memphis Tigers. Again, college football is kind of a mess sometimes, so you got to make the most of it. I believe WKU should be able to win this game. And I'm going to go with the Hilltoppers to pick up a 9-win season. I'm going to go with WKU to go to New Orleans and win the New Orleans Bowl against the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. On now to our third bowl game of the week. Let's go to UNLV versus Ohio in the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. Is this at the Cowboys Stadium again? So if you watch the Xbox Bowl between Arkansas State and Missouri State, by the way, the trophies for winning player of the game in the Xbox Bowl, the most incredible thing I've ever seen. The Xbox Achievement Plaque. Oh my goodness, that brings me back to my childhood. Anyways, that game was played in Frisco, but it was played at the Cowboys practice facility, and that's exactly where the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl is going to be played as well. The Frisco Bowl used to be outdoors, but now they're playing it in the Ford Center at the Star, which is again just the Cowboys practice facility, which still holds 12,000 people because Texas, right? That's just the size of a average high school stadium out there, isn't it? Anyways, UNLV takes on Ohio at the Cowboys practice facility. UNLV should dominate Ohio. I promise you are not just picking favorites all day long. This is another one of these games, though, where I just look at it and say, yeah, it should probably be a blowout. UNLV, I had been watching a lot at the end of the season, and they had been playing much better football. Yes, they did not win the Mountain West, but I thought at the end of the Mountain West year, just at the end of the year in general, I thought the best two teams in the Mountain West, just due to the eye test, were UNLV and New Mexico, and I guess kind of Hawaii if they were playing on the island. Take a note of that. We'll come back to that in a second. So UNLV, again, played great football towards the end of the season. Anthony Calandria really figured it out. Offense was moving the ball well. And then unfortunately for them, the Mountain West decided to come up with their computer system of, finding their championship game, even though it was pretty obvious, in my opinion, it should have been UNLV having to go to New Mexico, but it's okay. They found out their computer system and said, we don't want people watching the American Championship game on ABC. We don't want people watching the Sun Belt. Got it. Let's put the game on the blue turf, on the Smurf turf, and people will actually tune in on Fox. And it worked. It worked. I don't know, actually. I don't know how the ratings went. But regardless, that was their mindset, and I'm telling you that's what it was. There was no computer. The Mountain West wanted their two highest, watch teams in the game. So they put UNLV at Boise for the second consecutive season in the MWC championship game, and Boise beat up on UNLV. UNLV just got out to such a crappy start, and Boise was dominating when they got Mark Madsen, obviously back at quarterback. Boise already lost the bucked up LA Bowl, though, earlier in the bowl cycle. Anyways, UNLV had looked really good prior to the Mountain West title game, winning 4 consecutive games over Colorado State, Utah State, Hawaii, and Nevada. And I'm telling you, that offense continued to improve as the season went on. Defensively, it's always been a struggle for UNLV, but they were looking better at home towards the end of the year. I know, again, the Boise game, they couldn't get a stop at all, but that's what Boise can do to you in Idaho. They're taking on the Ohio Bobcats, a Bobcats team that closed the year pretty hot with Parker Navarro at quarterback. Navarro, again, like Tucker Gleason, I just expected more out of those two guys in the MAC this year. Same with DeQuan Finn, who has left his team, but it's okay. We'll talk about the Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice later in the video, and whatever the hell Miami of Ohio's got going on for that game. But I expected more out of Parker Navarro. This is a very experienced quarterback in his senior year. I thought he was going to be a lot better in the MAC this year, and obviously they want to run the ball, and Parker Navarro is a run-first guy, but I don't know, he was not good throwing-wise this season. And Ohio struggled in spots. I mean, they had a game where they lost at WMU by 4 points. I get it, that's the MAC champions, and they just blew out Kennesaw in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. But this team lost to Ball State on the road. But again, they are very reliant, they are very dependent on the run game. That's through Parker Navarro, that's through Save Ben Guda. Both those guys, again, are massive running threats. They have a really good receiver in Chase Hendricks, who's really the only receiver who ever touches the ball for the Ohio Bobcats. But the all-around better football team by far is UNLV. UNLV has way more talent than Ohio. Anthony Calandria in this offense has looked so improved over the last couple weeks. And there were games when, against Hawaii, against Nevada, and at the end of the Utah State game, yes, they got bailed in the Utah State game because Utah State's kicker couldn't make a chip shot field goal. But you see that UNLV offense on the field and they're scoring. Like they are finding a way to at least get beyond the 30-yard line. They're getting points in every single possession. They were just such a difficult team to deal with at the end of the year. And a lot of that is just Anthony Calandria. Yes, he makes some stupid mistakes with the football sometimes, but Calandria's ability to extend plays, move the ball downfield, I like this UNLV team quite a bit. I thought they were going to be able to cover at Boise. I was wrong. Again, it's just something about that turf and something about playing at Boise, Idaho is just tough for so many teams, even though Fresno did it on a backup quarterback this season. But I'm willing to, excuse that loss, I guess, for UNLV, and I believe they're going to be able to win in the Frisco Bowl against the Ohio Bobcats as well, too. UNLV is a much better team inside of a dome. Their offense is so high scoring indoors, and we've seen that all year long at Allegiant Stadium, and now they're going to Frisco to play in the Cowboys practice facility, again, indoors. So this one should turn out fairly well, in my opinion, for the UNLV Rebels. I think Anthony Calandri and the guys pick up a win. I'm going to go with UNLV to go to Frisco, Texas, and win the Scooters Coffee, right? Yeah, Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. Calandria, again, for now, is playing in this game. He has said he's not entering the portal. He is going to play. So give me Calandria and UNLV to pick up the win and cover 6.5. They just need to stop that run game. If they get a couple stops, they're going to win. Next up, let's go to the only game on Christmas Eve, and I'm sure this game is going to draw a lot of attention, and it's going to get we're going to see a lot of action on this game. So it's going to be one that is going to be highly watched, in my opinion, because it's the only game on Christmas Eve. There's no NBA on Christmas Eve. College basketball does not play on Christmas Eve this year. The NFL is not playing on Christmas Eve because it's a Wednesday. They're saving their games for Thursday, even though last year they played on Wednesday, but it was Christmas last year on Wednesday. So no NBA, no college basketball, no NFL. The NHL is taking their Christmas break like they always do. They don't play on the 24th. No one plays games on the 24th of December except for the Hawaii Bowl. It's the same thing every single year. The Hawaii Bowl is action. The Hawaii Bowl is cinema every single Christmas Eve. And here we go. From Hawaii, from Honolulu, Hawaii, we've got the Sheridan Hawaii Bowl between the Cal Golden Bears and the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Guys, I've learned something over watching, just sports in general over the last couple years. Oh, my entire life, actually. Let me clarify that. Don't bet against Hawaii at home. Don't do it. That travel is too difficult for teams to go across the Pacific Ocean and play them. And sure, California, or Cal Berkeley, is the easiest road trip a team can have going into in Honolulu, right? I mean, we've seen teams this year going to Hawaii from. Sam Houston went cross country and then they had to go over the Pacific Ocean on top of that to play Hawaii. We saw Utah State have to do that. We saw Wyoming and these teams who Portland State's not that far, but teams that aren't on the coast on the Pacific Ocean have to travel again through the United States, obviously on an airplane, but still then go over the Pacific as well, make multiple stops. Tough trip. Obviously, Cal is just going from likely Oakland or San Francisco straight to Hawaii. So it is going to be, the travel's not going to be too difficult. I'm sure, again, bowl games, they get out there early, but still, it's still a trip out there. And something happens on that island, man. Something happens on that island where teams go into Honolulu and they forget how to play football. You get the worst officiating of all time, but it favors Hawaii. So I'm done picking against this team. Hawaii did not lose at home all year long with the exception of the Fresno State game. They were a great home team, beating San Diego State. They dominated SDSU, winning that game by 32 points, beating Utah State, beating Stanford. They've beating Wyoming. They've beaten good teams or moderately good teams at home all year long, and this is just a Hawaii home game. And there is a reason that they booked this game. This one was predicted by quite a few people before they actually announced it. It's because of the starting quarterback matchup. You got Jerron Sagapulete, former Oregon commit, transferred at the last second to go to California after Cal had their whole, quarterback situation fall through for them. So JKS, who is Hawaiian at Cal, is going to play another Hawaiian quarterback, obviously, in Micah Alejado, but of course, it's just in Hawaii in general. So this is the matchup that college football has wanted. I'm sure it's the matchup ESPN has wanted. I love Hawaii here. Absolutely. I'm all over the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors in this spot. I think it's a really good position for them to be in. Again, you're making Cal come to your spot. You're making California play you in Honolulu. Yeah, it's a bowl game, and all the bowl games are supposed to be neutral sites, but it's like when Georgia plays in the SEC title game, or if Georgia gets to play in the Peach Bowl. It's a home game for them. And this is what this is for Hawaii. It's a home game, and yet they're even money. I don't think California is that much better than Hawaii. I don't know if they're better than Hawaii at all. I know that sounds crazy to say because California plays in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and for the most part, I don't see many opt-outs yet. As of Sunday, there's not many opt-outs for this game for California nor Hawaii. Still, though, I'm going to favor the Rainbow Warriors because this team is so good offensively. Alejado pushes the ball downfield every single drive. He puts up 400-plus yard passing nights not on a somewhat normal basis, I will say. Jackson Harris has been a very good receiver for Hawaii, and weird correlation, weird connection to this game. Jackson Harris, leading receiver for Hawaii, is from Berkeley, California, and he plays in Honolulu. Used to play at Stanford. So again, a lot of hate going around in this game. I'm taking Hawaii. California is not going to be able to keep up scoring-wise, guys. We watched California go to San Diego State, the only Mountain West team they went on the road and played this season, and they lost 34-0. Yes, they somehow pulled out a victory against SMU at the end of the year to end SMU's playoff hopes and ACC championship hopes, which was a crazy win for California. On the road this season, they have not been great, losing at Stanford, losing at VTech, losing at San Diego State, and shut out at San Diego State. Yes, they went on the road and beat Louisville, don't care. I'm going to take Hawaii. I expect a lot of points. I expect JKS to push the ball downfield. I expect Alejado and Hawaii to push the ball downfield. I actually trust Hawaii's offense more, especially because the game is in Honolulu, and trust me, they're gonna get the benefit of the doubt on every single call in this game. I've watched too much Hawaii football, baseball, and basketball because they're on late night. Trust me, Hawaii's going to have a big advantage in this spot. Give me the Rainbow Warriors to beat California, and people are gonna call rigged because it's gonna be the only game on TV, and I'm hoping the public money goes on California. Give me Hawaii -110 at home to beat the Cal Golden Bears. We move on now to the Games Above Sports Bowl. This is the bowl game we mentioned earlier, or last year. Pittsburgh and Toledo played their 4-overtime game, and Toledo was able to win the game at Ford Field. This is formerly known as the Detroit Bowl. I guess Games Above Sports Bowl is slightly better. On paper, this is another mismatch. Now, last year, right, we had Group of 5 play Power 4/Power 5 in this spot, and of course, it was Toledo picking up the win from the Mountain West, being an ACC team in Pittsburgh. We talked about the circumstances around that game with Pittsburgh's, losing streak to end the year, with Holstein injured and Nate Yarnell having to play. It was difficult down the stretch for Pittsburgh, who at one point in time last season actually had playoff aspirations, and at the time, Toledo was playing fairly good football, so that one, even though Pittsburgh was still expected to win, and I thought Pittsburgh was going to win the football game, it wasn't too crazy to think, okay, there's a chance that the G5 team can get this one. Guys, Central Michigan is just the max version of Northwestern. Now, on the surface, that might not appear to make sense. Hear me out here, guys. So, Northwestern, you know what Northwestern is. Defensive-minded team, they run the ball, they throw short passes, and they just find ways to win. They don't find ways to win ugly games. They just play ugly games. Central Michigan is the same exact way. Okay, don't be confused about their high-scoring games where they scored like 30 against Buffalo, I think it was. Yeah, 38 against Buffalo at home, and the Kent State game where they scored 28 points. This is an ugly football team. Okay, they don't do much well offensively. They want to grind you out defensively. And what I said all year long about Central Michigan is that they were just a lower tier version of the West Michigan Broncos, where West Michigan, obviously, like we saw in the Myrtle Beach Bowl and the explosiveness of that offense against Kennesaw, they have the potential of that. Central Michigan barely has explosiveness. Joe Labus and Angel Flores have played quarterback this year. Labus has been the starter for most of the season. Flores will get some spots where he plays. Labus has played pretty much the entire year, though, and he doesn't even have 2,000 yards. That's a real stat. Their leading rusher is Nari Biggins. He has 500 yards, and their second leading rusher is their backup quarterback who comes into special spots and unique packages, as the New York Giants used to say, Angel Flores. Labus is the starter, but Flores will get a lot of time, and he will play, and he will have sets, again, that are just designed specifically for him. Northwestern's a Big Ten defense. Northwestern has played elite offenses all year long. Not saying they've stopped all of them, but okay, I don't know what you think of Illinois. They held Illinois to 20 points. They lost, but their defense did their job. Played USC, gave up 38, okay. Played Oregon, give up 34, all right. I mean, these are okay spots for Northwestern. Played Tulane, lost 23-3. If you're complaining about the G5 in the playoffs, well, Tulane beat Northwestern and Duke this year, and I didn't even think they were the best team in the G5. They weren't. It was JMU. But still, right, Northwestern has held teams to low numbers. Central Michigan can't score in general. How are they going to score against a Big Ten defense? This should be a blowout. It should be. Central Michigan has played 2 Power 4 teams this season. They went to Pittsburgh and they went to Michigan. They lost 45-17 at Pittsburgh, and they lost 63-3 at the Big House. And you can make the argument, yes, this game means a lot more to Central Michigan than it does Northwestern. Maybe, but I think that applies more to last year, where it was, okay, Pittsburgh versus Toledo. Toledo is a very good MAC program. They're in big games all the time in the MAC. And you get a team in Pittsburgh who thought they were going to be in the postseason, just failed miserably at the end of the year, and now they get stuck in the Detroit Bowl, or the Games Above Sports Bowl. Okay, a little bit different now, though. Northwestern's been in one bowl game in the last 5 years. I think they won. It was the Holiday Bowl, I think it was, right? Vegas Bowl that they won back in 2023. But it's a program that doesn't really get bowl games. So they actually care about this one. And they see, oh, we get Central Michigan? A team that does just what we do, but worse? Yeah, sign us up for that. This team is actually, I believe, going to be excited to play this game. So I'm going to go with Northwestern here to win and dominate. I don't know if Central Michigan scores. That's the truth. I don't know if they score. Northwestern wins this game at 21-3, I'll say. It'll be an ugly game, but Northwestern will cover 10.5 points, and they will win the Games Above Sports Bowl. On to our next one. I believe this is still on Friday. We go now to the Rate Bowl over in Phoenix, Arizona at Chase Field, obviously the home of the Arizona Diamondbacks, as we've got a good matchup as the New Mexico Lobos take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Hear me out. Give me New Mexico. I did not believe in this team at the start of the season. I think you're hard-pressed to find anybody who really believed in New Mexico at the start of the year. Bronco Mendenhall leaves. He goes to Utah State. Devin Dampier leaves. Eli Sanders leaves. Luke Weissong leaves. And obviously, we saw the success Devin Dampier had at Utah, and we'll see what happens going forward in that situation with him and Bird Ficklin. But regardless, New Mexico loses all their talent. All their guys are leaving. They had a lot of potential last year, as we saw. They were just a little... They just needed more time. A lot of these guys were underclassmen, and like Dampier was a sophomore playing fairly well, and they were just, again, a young team that had potential, but we just didn't get to see that turn out at New Mexico. So Mendenhall leaves to Utah State. You get a bunch of guys leave to there. You get Dampier and some of the offensive guys going to Utah. You see, again, other players like Sanders going to USC and whatnot. And here comes New Mexico starting a quarterback from the University of Idaho in Jack Lane, and they find a way to win 9 games. And they should have been in the Mountain West Championship game if it was not for the Mountain West screwing them out of the spot, which it made no sense because, hey, this team's actually coming back to your conference next year. Yeah, I know UNLV is, but you could have just screwed Boise. They're leaving for the Pac-12. Could have just done UNLV versus New Mexico in Albuquerque. That should have been the Mountain West Championship game. Why? Because, A, New Mexico picked up a huge win against San Diego State, who was leading the Mountain West through the entire year. Final game of the year, New Mexico wins it in OT against Lucky Sutton, Jaden Denigal, and the SDSU Aztecs. A huge victory for that team, and they screwed them out of the Mountain West Championship game. It was absurd. So anyways, New Mexico now gets a game in the Rate Bowl against Minnesota, and this is actually a really good spot for them. I assume they have to be pissed off after not getting a chance to play in the Mountain West title game. Minnesota has so many opt-outs for this game. I believe their starting quarterback in Drake Lindsey is playing. I've not seen anything that is stated otherwise. I mean, why wouldn't he play? He's a freshman. He's not entered the portal as of yet. Again, that's always a thing in college football. You could just, randomly a school could offer Drake Lindsey a bunch of money and then he could end up in the portal. But from what I've been seeing, Drake Lindsey's actually trying to recruit guys to come in to play in Minneapolis for the Golden Gophers. So Lindsey is playing. There's a lot of other opt-outs on this team, though. There's a lot of players who are not going to go. There's a lot of guys, again, who are underclassmen who aren't playing, like a Malachi Coleman, who I believe was pretty highly recruited out of high school, if I'm not mistaken. He's not going to be playing in this game, and he didn't really play much anyways this season. But there are going to be guys throughout the Minnesota lineup who are going to, A, opt out, or B, just not play in general, or because they're transferring. This is where we can apply the G5, logic of this team cares a lot more. Yes, New Mexico cares a lot more. And it's just that, like, the last game that we talked about, Central Michigan and Northwestern, it's just that stylistically made no sense for Central Michigan to win. This one does. New Mexico, offensively, when they get going, they're pretty good. Jack Lane can move the ball downfield, make some stupid mistakes with the football sometimes, I get it. But Lane is just a perfect game manager. He does just enough. And defensively, New Mexico has been very solid. Look at their last 3 games. Colorado State to 17 points. Air Force, you know what that offense can do. I get it, they were on a backup quarterback, but holding Air Force to 3 points. San Diego State double overtime game. SDSU doesn't score in OT. They only score 17 points and get held scoreless in back-to-back OT periods. New Mexico's been solid this year. Their losses at Michigan, at San Jose State, at Boise State, and if they didn't schedule the Michigan game, they would have been in the Mountain West Championship game, which is absurd. If they had played Central Michigan instead, they would have been in the Mountain West title game, but because they went to Ann Arbor and lost, they got screwed out of their own conference title game. I think they beat Minnesota. I think they do. Minnesota, is a decent offense. It's just dependent on the game. Some games they look great. Some nights they're horrible. Drake Lindsey's obviously leading the offense. Their leading rusher as of late. I think Darius Taylor ended up with the most yards in this team. I believe he did. Darius Taylor has his nights. I just think New Mexico gets this one, man. This is a team that is really, I believe, going to, want to win this football game. I think it means a lot more to them than it does Minnesota. And on top of that, too, if there is a home field advantage either way, it's going to New Mexico. Games in Arizona. That's in the Southwest. Minnesota's coming up from up north. The home field advantage should go to the Lobos. Last time Minnesota went to the West Coast and played a football game, they lost at Oregon. The other time they went to the West Coast, they lost at California. They have not been a great road team all year long. They didn't win a road game all year. They didn't win a single road game this year. And I know, yes, bowl game, neutral site for both teams. Guys, this is going to feel like a home game for New Mexico. So I'm going to go with the Lobos. Minnesota yet to win a road game all season long, 0-2 on the West Coast. I know this isn't the West Coast, but it's in the desert. I'm going to go with New Mexico to get this one done in the Southwest. Give me the Lobos to beat the Golden Gophers. We're going to take the plus money in this spot here for New Mexico, plus 105 to beat Minnesota in the Rate Bowl. On to our final bowl game of Friday before we get into a bunch of bowl games for Saturday. We go to UTSA taking on Florida International and the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. Guys, one of my favorite bowl memories ever was from a game that never even happened. I don't remember entirely what year it was. It was either, I can't remember if it was pre or post-pandemic. It was either like 19 or 21 or 22. I think it was 19. I think it was pre-pandemic, but I could be wrong. I believe it was Boise State who was playing in the First Responder Bowl, and it was still the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, and the bowl got canceled because of heavy rain. And I know there was flooding in the area in Dallas at the time, but I found it so hilarious because Serve Pro is the sponsor for the game and is a First Responder Bowl, and they had to cancel the game due to weather. It was hilarious. No one was going to be in the crowd anyway. But regardless, I expect FIU and UTSA to actually play on Friday night from Gerald Ford Stadium in Dallas, Texas, obviously the home of the Southern Methodist Mustangs. And I've been saying it all year long, I just wanted UTSA in a bowl game. I wanted to watch UTSA play one more time. I wanted to see them on national television, and I wanted to see this team get a chance to just dominate a football team. Now, they have quite a bit of opt-outs on their defense. A lot of defensive guys are not going to be playing for UTSA, but I believe FIU has some opt-outs as well, right? Yeah, FIU's got a couple guys out as well defensively too, but I just wanted to see UTSA get one more chance to play a game this season because of how explosive this offense has the capabilities of being. Offensively, UTSA is super fun to watch. If you've never watched them before, their quarterback, Owen McCown, southpaw, slings it all game long, right? Junior quarterback who, we'll see what happens to him next season, but a junior quarterback who threw for 27 touchdowns this year and 2,700 yards. I have not seen anything as of yet for Owen McCown transferring, and why would he? He's been the guy for UTSA for the last couple seasons. No reason for him to leave. He's been really good here. There's no reason to go back to like Colorado where he started his career and obviously was never going to play. And their running back situation. Well, they've got two running backs who have been very good. Robert Henry at one point in the season was actually getting talked to win the Heisman Trophy. Not serious talk, obviously, because if Genty wasn't going to win it, Henry wouldn't have either. But Robert Henry's start of the year was just phenomenal. He had multiple 200-plus yard games to start the season. You want to talk about how great Cam Cook was for Jack State. Robert Henry, through the first 6 games of the year, was on the best pace we've seen out of a G5 running back in a very long time. He slowed down massively to end the year. He did find a way to still go over 1,000 yards. But the last couple games, I mean, he's been, he had a game where he ran the ball 8 times against Charlotte and had 1 yard. Robert Henry has struggled over the second half of the season, but he is still a very capable back alongside Will Henderson III, who is the future at running back for the UTSA Roadrunners. Henderson has really taken over as the season has gone on. I don't know if that's due to wear and tear to the starter and Robert Henry or whatnot, but towards the end of the year, yes, they've gotten a great effort out of Henderson. He's been having huge games going over 100 yards, and from what I've seen, he is not transferring out, and why would he? Again, G5 program, sophomore season, ran for 800 yards this year in his freshman year, come back, do it again next year, and then get looks in the portal afterwards. There's a lot of players, by the way, who don't optimize or don't really utilize G5 football as much as they should. I'll just say that. There's great opportunity for a lot of players to dominate at the G5 level and then either get paid up in the Power 4 or get drafted right out of the G5. And a lot of guys just, they want to go to USC or they want to go to Washington and they want to be a 4th-string quarterback at Alabama. No, go down to the G5, dominate, go to the FCS. There's good football everywhere. Go out there and play good football. And Will Henderson's been great this year. And I really like this UTSA offense. They're so explosive. Guys, this team beat a playoff team this year 48-26. And they played another playoff team on the road in Texas A&M, losing 42-24. Now, the playoff team they blew out was obviously Tulane, 48-26 in the Alamo Dome. They were a much better team in the Alamo Dome than they were outside of the Alamo Dome, and I get it. Their last game, they lost to the Army Black Knights. Was not great. At home, they lost to Army. That was not a good loss at all. But still, this team's very capable. FIU's not going to stand a damn chance. I know FIU's won 4 straight games. Somehow, someway, this team found themselves to be bowl eligible. I don't know how they did it. Keon Jenkins got healthy at the end of the season. He got injured, so they had to start their backup quarterback in Joe Pisensky. Pisensky was okay. He won games. I don't think he was really the reason they were winning games, but he was playing. Keon Jenkins is the starting quarterback, and he came back to play their final game against Sam Houston, and from everything I've seen, Keon Jenkins will be playing this bowl game. I don't think he's going to transfer out. With all due respect to Keon Jenkins, I don't really know who would be clamoring to get Keon Jenkins in the transfer portal. FIU's offense has been better in the last couple of games, but they've been playing CUSA teams. And if we have seen so far in bowl season, or if that can tell us anything, it's that the CUSA has been struggling quite a bit in bowl season, with the exception of the Delaware Blue Hens. And they, whatever. Louisiana just played an awful football game in that one. Yeah, UTSA should dominate. Offensively, they're so much better than FIU, and I just don't think that the Panthers are going to be able to keep up. So, give me UTSA to take this one. In the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. By the way, games in Texas, UTSA coming from San Antonio to Dallas, FIU coming from Miami to Dallas. Way closer trip for the Roadrunners. Give me UTSA to take this one here at home, or in Texas, sorry. UTSA wins and covers the 6.5 points and wins the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. On to our next game, we go to the long list of games that take place on Saturday. There are 8 of them to be exact. A lot of college football before we close the video with the Deeper Than Hate rivalry game on Monday night or Monday morning in Birmingham, Alabama. But anyways, we go now to the Go Bowling Military Bowl. Okay? I think Go Bowling, I assume, is just like an actual bowling sponsor, but maybe it's not. Maybe I'll look that up. The Go Bowling Military Bowl between Pittsburgh and ECU. Go Bowling is... Okay, it's actually a bowling alley? No. It's a bowling brand, like with shirts and whatnot. I don't know if they have actually bowling alleys. Anyways, Pittsburgh takes on ECU. So a familiar spot for the Pitt Panthers is last season. Well, they're in the same exact situation. They played a bowl game that no one really cares about early in the morning, and not many people watched, and they played a G5 team, and they played Toledo. ECU, not a horrible G5 team if their entire team wasn't transferring. That's a problem, okay? So ECU would have struggled enough playing this game straight up, but I thought they were going to have a chance. And I was excited when I first saw this game because I was like, you know what? Caden Hauser's played much better football in the second half of the season, and I want to see him get a chance against Pittsburgh. Obviously, if Caden Hauser thinks he can play at the Power 4 level again, obviously former Michigan State quarterback. It was him and Noah Kim that one year where they struggled quite a bit in 2023. Regardless, I was excited for the game. Caden Hauser's not playing. Caden Hauser is transferred out. He is not playing, from what I've seen, he's not playing in the Go Bowling Military Bowl. ECU's got some other opt-outs. They've got a couple of receivers and a couple guys, again, just weapons who aren't playing this game as well, which is a little brutal. I think they're missing a couple defensive pieces, and that just kind of sums up bowl season for some schools. So ECU already has their work cut out for them. No Caden Hauser means likely backup quarterback in Chasten Didda is going to play. A freshman who has attempted 7 passes so far in his collegiate career gets to play the ACC's Pittsburgh Panthers, a team that just beat Georgia Tech a couple weeks ago, and a team that was ranked going into their Miami game where, of course, the Hurricanes blew them out, and shout out to the Hurricanes, they found their way into the second round of the college football playoffs. Yeah, guys, this game's not going to be close. This is going to be a straight-up blowout. I'm glad now this game's at 8 o'clock in the morning because I'm not getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning and watching this game. I'm not going to. Just going to be honest. And if Caden Hauser is playing, maybe I have a reason to, because the game would be back and forth a little bit and competitive. At least ECU could keep up scoring-wise. On a backup quarterback, yeah, they're not going to stay competitive. They're not going to be able to keep up in this spot with the backup quarterback. Pitt starting Mason Heitschnell. Eli Holstein got benched midway through the season. A little interesting, but Pitt said last year we're going to get younger going from Yarnell to Holstein. Holstein was a freshman. This year they benched the sophomore Holstein for Mason Heitschnell. Can guarantee you Eli Holstein is going to get looks in the transfer portal this year, and he'll end up quarterbacking some team. Maybe if it's the G5, whatever. He's going to play a lot next season. He's going to be really good. Heitschnell's been all right, though. Heitschnell's played well. I'll say this. Heitschnell has played well in 2025. As a true freshman, I think he's a true freshman. Might be a redshirt. I think he's a true freshman. Heitschnell's been good. He has. And Pitt has struggled, but like look at their losses in all fairness. Notre Dame, Miami, Louisville, and West Virginia, whatever. Last 2 losses though to Notre Dame and Miami, not horrible. Now, I didn't love Narduzzi's take going into the Notre Dame game and kind of made me sour on Pittsburgh for most of the season, or at the end of the year when Narduzzi said before the Notre Dame game, yeah, we really don't care about this one. We can lose 50-0 for all I care. We just got to win the 2 conference games, which is true, but don't say that crap. And so that kind of turned me away from Pittsburgh towards the end of the season. They should blow out ECU, though. I mean, respect for Eastern Carolina for playing this football game. It's just they're so undermanned in this spot. Again, it is hard enough being an FCS team playing a Power 4 school in a bowl game. It's another thing when you're on backups and your quarterback who used to play at Michigan State is leaving. A guy who's really carried you down the stretch. I mean, I can go into ECU games, guys, but it's just going to be a different team out there. They had won 5 of their last 6 games to get into this position. Won a big game over Memphis at home at ECU a couple weeks ago. I guess a month ago now, but still, they had won big games. And now you got to do this without your starting quarterback. Yeah, I just think it's going to be a brutal spot, man. I'm going to go with the Eastern Carolina Pirates to get blown out here. I'm going to go with Pitt to take this one home and cover the 10 points as well, the 9.5 points as well. They're not going to get stuck in the same exact position that they got stuck in last year where, they got upset in the Detroit Bowl. It's just not going to happen. ECU does not have the explosiveness without Caden Hauser like Toledo did last year to beat Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh wins it and get back for their small bowl game, I guess, this year. I don't know. They'll finally win a bowl game. Whatever. Next up, on paper, a big matchup. I don't think Clemson or Penn State envisioned their season ending at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx at the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, but here they are. They have found their way to end their season in the Pinstripe Bowl. 2 playoff teams last season, both go 6-6 and 7-5. And now they get to play in the Pinstripe Bowl on 9 o'clock on Saturday, December 27th. Fun, I guess. I mean, congrats. I'll say this, guys. I believe this game's going to mean a lot more to Clemson than it's going to for Penn State. And that's just a program mindset. That's a philosophy. And that's how Dabo Swinney runs his program. Nothing against what Penn State's doing, obviously firing James Franklin, and we'll see again what they're going to be doing going forward just in general with that program, and we'll see how they can, recover in terms of the portal. And they don't have too many opt-outs for this game. They have some, but they don't have too many. Minnesota has more opt-outs than this team does, so a little interested about that. But anyways, Penn State limped their way into a bowl game. Yes, they won 3 in a row. In all fairness, they did win 3 games in a row, and they looked better towards the end of the year. But how much does this game actually matter to these guys? How much does the Pinstripe Bowl matter? Clemson, you get players to come back, and that's Dabo Swinney's philosophy. You don't use the transfer portal. You try to build a program, and you try to get these guys to commit for 4 seasons or until they are a professional, until they make the NFL or go to the NFL. You get guys to commit to your program. I don't think Singleton's playing, right? I don't think so. I could be wrong, but he's playing in the Senior Bowl, so I don't think he's going to be playing in this game. I don't know if Katron Allen's playing. I don't think he is either. So Penn State's sending a lot of their guys to the Senior Bowl, and usually if you play the Senior Bowl, you're not playing in your bowl game either. So a lot of Penn State's experienced guys and upperclassmen aren't playing in this game. Clemson does have some opt-outs as well for the NFL players that they have, but at the same time, there are more Clemson guys and more Clemson starters actually playing the Pinstripe Bowl than there are for Penn State. And again, what team's going to have more portal opt-outs? Penn State. Clemson does get some portal guys who leave in the portal. They're few and far between, though, because, again, you get the players to really commit to Dabo Swinney at Clemson. So my thought process here is this game means a lot more for the Tigers. Yes, Penn State regrouped their season and they won 3 straight games to close their year. And shout out to them for actually going to a bowl game, unlike the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who opt out even though they weren't a team that had players opting out. They just said, oh, we're going to cry and not play. I hope Marcus Freeman leaves for the New York Giants. Okay? Anyways, Penn State wins 3 in a row. To get into a bowl game. They beat Michigan State. They beat Nebraska. They beat Rutgers. Good on them, right? Grunkmeyer has kind of figured it out a little bit towards the end of the year. Obviously, they don't win through Grunkmeyer. They win because of their running game, and that'll be interesting if no Allen and Singleton like I expect. Obviously, because Drew Aller got injured at the beginning of the season, so it's been Grunkmeyer. But anyways, Penn State, who was 3-6 at one point, wins 3 games in a row to get to the spot in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. For Clemson, they won 4 in a row to get into the spot, get in this position. They beat Louisville, they beat Florida State, and from watching Clemson games, and at least what the commentators have been saying about Clemson during those games, they've said I've heard it multiple times on broadcast, Dabo Swinney and Clemson, they want to get to 6 wins. They want to get a bowl game. They still feel like they're playing for something, even though the end goal was the ACC title game and the ACC championship like it was last season in the playoffs. They still feel like they're playing for something, and they're playing for the seniors. They're playing for one more game, and that's what they did at the end of the year. Winning 4 in a row. They were 3-5. They beat FSU. They beat Louisville. They beat Furman, and they beat South Carolina on the road to get to 7-5. Cade Klubnik, I think, is playing. I haven't seen that Cade Klubnik isn't going. Klubnik's in his senior year, but again, what does Cade Klubnik have to play for? I think he's playing. Hold on, let me make sure here. I thought he was playing. Yeah, Cade Klubnik is playing. I mean, I'm reading an article right now because I haven't seen anything of him not playing. Cade Klubnik's report from Clemson why Cade Klubnik and Clemson are not treating the Pinstripe Bowl lightly. Exactly. Clemson actually cares about winning the bowl game. Penn State does not. You have backups for Penn State and future NFL players. I'm not saying Klubnik's going to be a star. He's going to be an NFL player. You got future NFL players actually playing for the Tigers. Yeah, this is a Clemson victory and a Clemson cover as well. Tigers spread -3 against Penn State. Yes, Penn State's defense is still going to be really good. I just don't know how they score that many points. Next up, we move on to the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. So we're going to have a game in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium and a game in Boston at Fenway Park running at almost the same time. The Fenway Bowl is at 11:15. The Pinstripe Bowl earlier in the day at 9 o'clock, but kind of running at the same exact time, as we've got the Army Black Knights taking on UConn. Little surprised Army's such a big favorite. I know there's a bunch of opt-outs for UConn, and we'll get to the most major one out of the bunch in a second, but little surprised Army's that big of a favorite just because of the fact that their defense has not been great this season. No, depending on the game. Actually, they've been decent. I will retract that statement. Their defense has been good. Offensively, they have struggled a little bit this year. I keep getting reminded of the North Texas game. That's just, no, as a whole this year, they've been good defensively. The Navy game, they were good. I remember saying it going in the Navy game, the defense has been solid. It has been. Okay. I immediately think of the North Texas game when I think of Army, when they should have won the game at the end of regulation. They didn't score. They kicked a field goal instead of scoring a touchdown, and they gave up 45 points. Regardless, though, no, yes, the defense has been good for Army this year. Offensively, can they get away from them? That's the problem with military schools. Can they really gain separation in wins? Because, yeah, they're able to grind out victories, but now you need them to win by multiple scores. Army's won by multiple scores twice all year long. Charlotte and UAB were the teams that they beat by double digits. Charlotte by 17, UAB by 18 points. And they choked the Army-Navy game. Completely choked. We had +6 or +5.5 or +6 for Army, so we were fine. But they choked the game. They should have beat Navy. They should have won that game. There's some questionable decisions at the end of the game by Army, and they end up losing. It was a really bad L, I thought, but obviously they won that big game at UTSA to close the regular season, and now they find themselves bowling in a very winnable spot in the Fenway Bowl against the UConn Huskies. Yes, UConn went 9-3 this season. Yes, UConn had multiple victories over Power 4 opponents. Actually, only one. It was Duke. They beat BC as well, yeah. Beat 2 ACC schools this year in the ACC champion, Duke Blue Devils, and the Boston College Eagles on the road. So there were big victories for UConn this year. One of the best years in program history. Actually, maybe the best year in program history at 9-3. Joe Fagano, though, is not playing. Fagano is not playing. He's playing in the Shrine Bowl, East-West Shrine Bowl. They have multiple seniors playing in that game. So, again, you're seeing a lot of opt-outs from UConn. And because they had so much success in the regular season and with having 9 wins, you get guys entering the portal. They've got multiple, I believe, starting offensive linemen who are not playing this game. They've had 3 running backs who are entering the portal, especially in the biggest one. Their starting running back ran for 1,300 yards in Cam Edwards. It's going to be a very depleted UConn team. Their top 2 rushers Cam Edwards and Mel Brown aren't playing. So their starting running back in this game, I don't think Victor Rosa's in the portal, right? No, he is in the portal. Oh my goodness. Their top 4 running backs are in the portal. So no Cam Edwards, no Mel Brown, no Victor Rosa, no MJ Flowers. Their only running back who has gotten actually play, they're missing 4 running backs. Oh my goodness. The only running back on this team who's actually gotten carries this season is Malachi Greaves, freshman out of Middle Village, New York. He's going to be the starting running back. He's run the ball 3 times this season. Once in the Duke game, twice against UAB. That's a problem. Your quarterback's not playing. Multiple offensive linemen are in the portal. Guys are going to the East-West Shrine game. Your 4 top running backs aren't playing the game as well. That's where Army starts to grind you out. And I said again, it's tough taking a military school to win by more than 8 points. But a spot like this, guys, UConn might not score. They have talent, but I don't know how deep this team is. I don't think this team's incredibly deep. I believe Skylar Bell is going to the East-West Shrine game as well. So again, who had 1,300 yards this year, was at the top of the stat sheet, or the leaders all year long in receiving yards. No Fagano, no Bell, no Cam Edwards. Guys, that's 6,000 all-purpose yards leaving this football team for, this game against Army. And a good Army team too. It's just offensively, what can they do? Well, we'll trust a little bit in Cale Helms. I'll tell you this. I know nobody's going to be opting out from Army. You don't transfer out of the Navy, out of the military schools unless you're Kanye Udo, but it's okay. Nobody leaves these schools. You still have service to do after you're done, unless you go to the pros, because I think they waived that, right? The David Robinson thing, I think. You don't transfer out of Army. Nor do you transfer into Army. It's just it's like Clemson. You go here and play football for 4 years or 5 years, depending on your redshirt status. This game is just another game for Army. It's another game for Army, but again, this is just on the regular season. Like, it's just another month of football for these guys. UConn, you got guys going to the pros. You got guys entering the portal. You got a mess going on currently at UConn. You've got Army going all out to win this football game. This should be an Army blowout, just because I don't think UConn can score that much. I think Army wins this game like 28-10. That's an Army blowout, okay? An 18-point victory for the Black Knights. Army gets it done. They will win, and they will cover 8.5 points as well against UConn. On to the best bowl game of the cycle. Oh my goodness, it's the Pop Tarts Bowl. I'm excited for the game. I'm more excited to see which Pop-Tart the player of the game decides to toast after the game at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida. I'm so excited for the Pop-Tart Bowl. I mean, it's the only time of year where I actually sit down and eat a Pop-Tart. I eat a Pop-Tart out of the packaging. I toast a Pop-Tart and eat it. It's great, man. I mean, this is a celebration every year around December 27th, the Pop-Tart Bowl. I cannot wait. BYU plays Georgia Tech, and I just need to get this out the way. How dare Notre Dame turn down the Pop Tart Bowl? The Pop Tart Bowl is the biggest non-playoff bowl game remaining. It would have been BYU versus Notre Dame. It would have been a great bowl game, but then Notre Dame cried because they didn't get in the playoffs. Maybe you should join a conference and you can respect the Pop Tart Bowl. So good on Georgia Tech for stepping up and playing in one of the most illustrious bowl games that college football has. Anyways, on to the football game. I think BYU dominates. I will say this. BYU, fairly young team. Obviously, they're young with their quarterback in Bear Bachmeier, who's just a true freshman who had a good freshman year, right? 18, 19 years of age, had a good year. BYU is not getting many guys in the portal. Their head coach, there was talk, is he going to go to Michigan? Is he going to go to Penn State? Well, not Michigan. Penn State. Now there was Michigan, obviously, because Sharon Moore. But, is their coach going to leave for Penn State? Is he going to take a job elsewhere? No, he's staying at Brigham Young. So they're building something at BYU. Nobody's really opting out of this game from what I have seen. BYU's ready to win this game. They are a team that kind of got robbed of the postseason. I think they did. Honestly, I think they should have been in over one of the SEC schools, Bama, Oklahoma. But that's neither here or there. They got punished for losing their title game, but it's okay. It's okay. They lost one game all year long to Texas Tech. And they screwed them out of the playoffs. Okay. No, sorry, they only lost to one team, lost twice to Texas Tech. As for Georgia Tech, 9-3 this season, 2 consecutive losses going into the Pop-Tart Bowl, losing to Pittsburgh, losing to Georgia. This is a team that just needed to beat Pittsburgh, and they would have controlled their own destiny back to the postseason if they had beaten Pittsburgh and won the ACC title game against Virginia. Nope, they got blown out at home against Pittsburgh. Yes, the final score says 14 points. They got blown out. They got beat up early, and they were down by too many points. And then Georgia, they played a gritty defensive game against the Georgia Bulldogs. They did not come out on the right side of that game. Haynes King has been the long-term starting quarterback for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. They've had their moments. They have been very fraudulent in the top 25 for most of the season. They're still in the top 25, but they've been very fraudulent. I believe Haynes King is playing. I think he's playing in this and the East-West Shrine Bowl, which, again, you just get varied opinions and different philosophies from players, I believe, who are playing the East-West Shrine games. So sometimes these guys don't play. They're like, I believe Sam Hartman, right? They don't play their bowl game, but they're going to play the East-West Shrine game. From what I've seen, I believe Haynes King is going to play both the Pop-Tart Bowl and the East-West Shrine game. So good on him. He's respecting the Pop-Tart Bowl. That's perfect. BYU should dominate this team, though. BYU defensively is better than this team. BYU, their offensive line is going to get a good enough push. And we've said it so many times this year, it's so difficult to beat Brigham Young just because of the way that they play, right? Bear Bachmeier, for most of the season, I'll be honest with you, for the first half of the year, Bear Bachmeier was not a great passer of the football, right? Except for the WVU game. But I thought, watching the first 4 BYU games this year, I'm like, I just don't think Bachmeier is that great of a passer. And sure, he struggled at the beginning of the season, but Partially why I didn't think he was a great passer is because he didn't do it much. And there was no rhythm for Bear Bachmeier to get into until the WVU game where he threw for 300 yards. And then throughout the course of the year, there was more and more games where Bachmeier had to drop back and pass because they just weren't staying ahead of the sticks and they weren't getting, 5 yards on first down. The quarterback last yards for Bachmeier on second down. So they were behind the sticks and so then they needed to throw the ball. Bachmeier's a good thrower of the football. As for a true freshman, yes, he's going to be very good. The guy was playing high school football last year. He was going to go to Stanford and be probably the backup this year and then start the year after. No, he's starting at a Big 12 school at BYU. Obviously because of the Retzlaff situation, which unfortunately for Retzlaff, his collegiate career is over at Tulane. I thought he had another year of eligibility, but I guess not. He'll probably be on someone's practice squad next year. They're so difficult to beat, though, because it's not like Bachmeier is a bad thrower of the football. He's good. He can throw. But on top of that, Bachmeier, who wears 47, is going to be able to take off. He's a fast quarterback. LJ Martin's been a great running back for this team all year long, and they have running backs beyond LJ Martin who can get it done as well, who you just don't see much. Again, Martin by far their best guy, though, as LJ Martin had 1,300 yards this season. I've not seen anything saying LJ Martin's not playing this game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I've not seen that yet, so I think he's playing as well. Let's see. Okay, he's questionable. So I don't know if he's playing or not. I guess he hasn't made up a decision or BYU hasn't told anyone if he's playing or not. Still, they should be fine without him if they don't have LJ Martin. They've got Bachmeier who can run. Sion Moa can run the ball too. Got like 20 carries this season. They'll be okay. I'm going to go BYU. I think they're going to be able to punch Georgia Tech in the mouth. I think they should be able to stop the run first approach of Haynes King and the Yellow Jackets. Towards the end of the year, they had to throw the ball more because they were losing quite a bit. But again, this team played pitiful for the last 4 weeks of the season, losing at NC State, almost losing and having to come back in a huge effort to beat Boston College, and losing to Pitt, losing to Georgia. They played like crap towards the end of the year. I like BYU in this spot. On now to the the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice, as we've got the Miami of Ohio Redhawks going to Tucson, Arizona to take on the Fresno State Bulldogs. Give me Fresno State -4.5. I think this is an easy one for Fresno State. The Bulldogs have had a weird year. Some nights they look unstoppable and their defense looks great and E.J. Warner's slinging the football and they're looking phenomenal. Other nights they can't get anything going offensively and their defense is getting completely, beaten up. Miami of Ohio, though, is having trouble in the portal, if I'm not mistaken. I need to check again because this thing always changes every single day. Yes, a lot of guys in the portal for Miami of Ohio, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You're missing multiple defensive starters. Your starting quarterback doesn't set a great precedence at all for your team. He leaves before the MAC championship game. His team was still alive in the MAC championship game, and I don't know if that was a soft benching and he wasn't going to play anyway, but DeQuan Finn, who, I've said it before, I don't even know if DeQuan Finn is a starting not starting. I don't know if he's a quarterback in the National Football League. Like, I don't even know if a practice squad is going to have him. Maybe UFL or Canada will be calling for DeQuan Finn, but could he even start in the UFL? I don't know, and this is coming from someone who likes DeQuan Finn quite a bit. Anyways, he did not play well this season. He struggled for most of the year, did not get to replicate the success he saw a couple years ago in the MAC when he played at Toledo, and then obviously went to Baylor, could not start over Sawyer Robertson, and now is at Miami of Ohio. And obviously left after they lost a big game against Ohio, which we thought eliminated them which we thought was probably going to, be the first step of eliminating them from the MAC title game. They went on to lose to Toledo at home, but somehow they had the tiebreaker in the MAC because they beat Buffalo, they beat Ball State, they get in the MAC title game, and like we predicted, West Michigan rolled them. They didn't really roll them, but beat them down like expected. Miami of Ohio couldn't move the football, and they couldn't score points. So without DeQuan Finn, they've looked to two quarterbacks. That's going to be Henry Hessen, the senior, and Thomas Gutowski. I thought Gutowski was going to be the guy, but did not play well in the West Michigan game, so they had to go to Hessen, who was moving the offense a little bit. Gutowski took over for the starting role in the Buffalo game. Hessen's a senior who had no expectation of playing at Miami of Ohio. He was brought in, and he knew when he came in he's just going to be the backup to DeQuan Finn, but here he goes. I assume he's going to get a chance to play in the bowl game. I think so. They're going to play the senior. Gutowski's probably going to be back next year. I think they're going to allow the senior to play. Neither of them are that great. I think Gutowski's slightly better, but he didn't play well against a good defense in WMU and only got to play against bad defenses in Buffalo and Ball State, so there's not much I can put into that. I'm going to take I'm going to take Fresno State to dominate this football game. The defense is just way too much. Miami of Ohio, with their backup quarterbacks, even with DeQuan Finn, had struggled a lot against good defenses. Defenses that can get to the quarterback. Defenses that can stop the run. That's what really, that's what Miami of Ohio has struggled with all season long. They should struggle massively with this again. I believe so. And we just need Fresno State to get it going a little bit offensively. That run game was so huge in that San Jose State game, the Valley Cup game. Big win for Fresno State. They pounded the run game all game long with Rayshawn Luke, with Elijah Gilliam, with Bryson Donaldson. Gilliam finally getting back in the rotation at running back for this team. And I assume E.J. Warner's playing, right? Obviously, son of Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner. It's been an up and down ride for E.J. Warner. I think his future does reside in the UFL with his brother. Or I don't know if his brother's still playing in the UFL, but I knew he used to be a receiver in the UFL. Anyways, I think that's likely where E.J. Warner's future resides. But I think he's going to play this game, and I think it is, he is the best quarterback for this team in comparison to, Carson Conklin, who was from Sac State and can't throw a football more than 5 yards downfield. So I know Warner has struggled, and he makes some stupid decisions with the football. If you make him a game manager, though, he's fairly smart and can make audibles on the line. I like Fresno State to dominate this Arizona Bowl against Miami of Ohio as well, too. It's relatively it's not a home game, but it's a generally close game for Fresno. Miami of Ohio is going cross country. So give me the Fresno State Bulldogs to win and cover the 4.5 point spread. On now to our next game. Let's move, and we're still on Saturday, by the way. Let's go to the Estella, New Mexico Bowl. What is Estella? I don't know. We'll look that up. North Texas, ranked North Texas, goes to Albuquerque, New Mexico to take on the San Diego State Aztecs. If you're interested in what Estella is, it's a casino, I believe, or is it a resort, or is it an Indian tribe? It might be all three. I think it's all three over in New Mexico, North Texas versus San Diego State. I'm going to be going with the Mean Green to dominate. Now, they might have some opt-outs, and they might have quite a bit of opt-outs. I still think this North Texas team can beat San Diego State. I've really thought SDSU's been fraudulent all year long. They are just built on a really good defense, which, credit to them. Their defense has been great. Offensively, they are so awful. And as of now, San Diego State doesn't have the most opt-outs for this game, which is fine. I think I saw, I could be wrong here. I think Jaden Denigle's not coming back. From what I've seen, Denigal is moving on. I don't know if he's playing this game specifically, but I need to just clarify this. But Jaden Denigal, their starting quarterback this year, was just so mid, man. They moved on from Danny O'Neal. Denigal, I don't know if he's playing or not in this game. I'm not sure. It's not like the quarterback position really matters for this team because they're a run-heavy squad with Lucky Sutton, who had a great season this year for San Diego State. Lucky Sutton ran for 1,300 yards, almost had as many rushing yards as Jaden Denigal had passing yards this year. That's how good Lucky Sutton was, and that's how reliant SDSU was with Lucky Sutton all season long. I don't think he's playing. I'm not sure. Again, it's hard to keep track with all these opt-ins and opt-outs. I don't think he's playing. If he is, it is what it is. Maybe he is. I don't know, man. It is tough to figure out some of these bowl games and who's playing and who's not. I'm not sure if Lucky Sutton's playing. I've seen that, he's not likely to play, and then now I'm seeing, I don't know. There's no confirmation either or. I still think North Texas can win this game. Now, lots being made currently of Drew Mestemaker and his entry into the transfer portal. I don't think he's officially in the portal as of Sunday, not officially, but it seems like he's going to leave, and I think we could either see him obviously follow his coach to Oklahoma State or go to Texas Christian because Josh Hoover is left. There are spots, Arizona State for Drew Mestemaker. I just don't know. You're going to have to pay Drew Mestemaker, though, to make him your quarterback. I will say this, though. Mestemaker had a great year. It is a very quarterback-friendly offense, though. Like we saw this with Chandler Morris at North Texas, who ended up being the starter at Virginia this year. We'll talk about the Cavaliers in just a few moments. It's a very quarterback-friendly offense, and quarterbacks should succeed here. It's a spot where quarterbacks should want to play. I think next year, if I'm a G5 quarterback and I'm looking for a home next year, I want to go play at UND. I don't know, off the top of my mind, I don't even know who that would be. Hell, Caden Hauser. I know Caden Hauser probably wants to go back to the Power 4. If I'm Caden Hauser, I'm going to North Texas. I'm putting up Drew Mestemaker type numbers, and I'm getting drafted. And I'm going in the 5th or 4th round. That's what I'm doing if I'm Caden Hauser. Don't go back to the Big Ten and, compete with Iowa and be on Iowa. No, go to North Texas, put up 4,000 yards, and, get Heisman votes and be an actual name in college football. Because Drew Mestemaker was phenomenal this season. I'm telling you, Caden Hauser could put up those numbers at North Texas. They have a great offense. They run the ball down your throat with Caleb Hawkins, and they're an explosive team, and they should dominate San Diego State. Because here's the thing. SDSU does not have the explosiveness North Texas has. And regardless of the opt-outs, as long as Mestemaker's playing, which I think he's going to, I think North Texas is going to be okay. I think they're going to win this game. I would probably wait, though, to bet it. I'll say this now. I'd wait to bet it until we know for sure if Mestamaker's playing or not, and if a lot of the offensive pieces are playing or not. Because I am making this video on Sunday, and this game is 6 days away, so a lot can change, obviously, from here to there. I would wait. If you get opt-outs on, again, Lucky Sutton's another big factor. If Lucky Sutton doesn't play and Drew Mestamaker doesn't play, I'm still taking North Texas. I think North Texas, again, quarterback-friendly offense. They can move the ball downfield, even, with their starting quarterback out. Well, San Diego State's entire offense is Lucky Sutton. And as a whole, regardless of what happens, opt-outs or not, you're going to see a very explosive and a great offensive team play a very good defensive team. We'll see who comes out on top. I'm going to take offense over defense in this spot just because of what I know about UNT and how they can score. So I'm going to go North Texas to beat San Diego State. Game is, I want to call it a home game for San Diego State again, but actually no. North Texas is close to New Mexico. What am I saying? Give me North Texas here. It's actually, I think, probably an equal distance. Albuquerque from UNT to San Diego State? I think so. Give me UNT here to win this bowl game to cap off a phenomenal season for the Mean Green. It would be a 12-win season for North Texas if they get this one. Give me the Mean Green. Should have been in the playoffs if they could have beat Tulane and probably would have put up a better fight against Ole Miss as well, but give me North Texas to win here in Albuquerque against San Diego State. On to one of the all-timers in terms of bowl games. The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl between the Virginia Cavaliers and the Missouri Tigers on ABC primetime from Jacksonville, Florida and Everbank Stadium. I'm taking Virginia. I'm taking Virginia plus money. Missouri's just not that good. That's the thing. They've been not that good all year long, and nothing changes once we enter bowl season either. Virginia has some opt-outs, not many. Bo Perbula's left Missouri. Bro Perbula is gone. He's going into the portal. Is there a chance he goes to Michigan? If Bryce Underwood does leave, which there is talk, maybe Bo Perbula ends up being the Michigan quarterback next year. I don't know, right? But Missouri is losing their coaches. They're losing guys in the portal, and they were never that good this season. I hate to break it to you, but I've never thought Missouri's good. Their best win this season is who? Auburn on the road? They played a bad SEC schedule, only beat the worst SEC schools in Arkansas, Mississippi State, Auburn, and South Carolina. Those are four of the worst schools in the SEC. Don't get me wrong, good programs, good teams, but in the SEC, some of the worst teams. And that's it. They beat Kansas. Well, Kansas, where are they in bowl season? Not here. Louisiana, Central Arkansas, UMass, UAss. They haven't beaten good teams this year. And they were just, they've been ranked all year long because, they're Missouri. They're ranked 10th. Last year we had Brady Cook and Luther Burden, so they were good. They've been horrible this year. It's the Ahmad Hardy show, obviously. Ahmad Hardy has done everything for Missouri this season, but you take Perbula away and look how bad that they were when Perbula didn't play with Matt Zollers at quarterback. They struggled to move the ball. Ahmad Hardy is going to be playing this game because he's coming back to Mizzou, which, honestly, I don't think a bad decision. I don't think so at all. Unlike the college football video game where he always leaves in the first season, not horrible. He dominates here. It's an offense centered around him. Doesn't really matter who the quarterback is. They're going to try to get the ball to Ahmad Hardy. And if he's having big nights, they're great. Had 300 yards against Mississippi State, but if you can shut him down, well, you're set. In terms of Virginia, I think Chandler Morris is playing. I haven't seen anything that's going to indicate that Morris is not going to play. Jamari Taylor, I think, is playing as well. So you have pretty much Virginia's team is playing as of Sunday. Their guys are going to give it a go. Why wouldn't I take this team here? Especially at plus money and with the points that they're being given to. We get plus 4.5 for Virginia against a team that I think they're better than. Especially with all the opt-outs for Mizzou. Sure thing. This is great. I really like this. I'm gonna go Virginia here, guys. I know Virginia lost the ACC title game and they let everybody down. Well, they let the ACC down at the time until the committee bailed the ACC out by putting Miami in the playoffs because the ACC just screwed up in general by letting Duke in the conference championship game in the first place. But this is still a solid football team. Chandler Morris does nothing but win. Former North Texas quarterback. Again, that is a quarterback-friendly offense, and he has seen success at Virginia as well. Run game, depending on the game, but again, Jamari Taylor can get it done. I think he's going to be fine for this game. I know he's been banged up, but I think he's going to play. I think so. And Virginia defensively is solid. Duke had their moments. I get it. I kept saying this about Duke. Duke can hurt you. And Duke they found a way to beat Virginia. It was not a complete layup that Virginia was going to win that football game. I thought that the ACC was going to try to rig it a little bit to ensure that Virginia was going to win, but obviously they didn't, and they got saved out and bailed out by the College Football Playoff Committee by the fact that they did not put, or that they put Miami in the playoffs instead of Notre Dame. But still, I like Virginia here. I think Missouri's been massively overrated all year long. I think Virginia's going to go in there and punch them in the mouth. I think offensively, Virginia is too good for Missouri. Yes, again, Missouri has Ahmad Hardy. Ahmad Hardy's probably the best player in this game, and he's going to get the football as much as possible, and that's obviously where they're going to look all game long. Feed Ahmad Hardy, and do it until basically, until you're unsuccessful. I understand. I'm going to go Virginia here. As long as they key in on that run game, which is way easier said than done, make this team throw the ball. What, Matt Zollers is going to beat you? I don't think so. I'm going to take Virginia here. I know they were disappointing in their last game. I think they can win this one. They're playing a mid-SEC school, if that. Yeah, they got to come down to the South and play them, but I mean, Virginia is closer to Jacksonville than Missouri. I mean, Missouri's in the SEC, but they're not as far down south. They're not that far down south. So yeah, give me Virginia here. I'm going to take the Cavaliers to win this game. Chandler Morris and the guys. If you want to take the spread, take it. It's 4.5. That's great value. Money line's playable as well too. But yeah, give me the 4.5 for Virginia going to Jacksonville and covering against the Missouri Tigers. On to our next game. The final game is Saturday, but we've got one game on Monday. So hold on a minute. We've got the Kinders or Kinders Texas Bowl between Louisiana State and the Houston Cougars. The Texas Bowl usually produces some hilarious shootouts. The Texas Bowl, Las Vegas Bowl, those are usually the Alamo Bowl. Usually you'll see the stupidest shootouts of all time in these games. I hope that's what we get here. But we're not, because it's LSU. It's hope. LSU's not scoring, guys. Houston defensively has struggled this season. I think they dominate LSU here. I think they do. Louisiana State offensively is just so bad, and this is an LSU team that, for pride is still playing in the bowl games, and good on them for not opting out. They have a bunch of opt-outs for this game, and they've just been so pitiful all season long. Why would I expect them to beat the Houston Cougars? I know Houston loses some games that they shouldn't lose, but from what I've seen, Connor Wagman's staying. I've not seen anything about Connor Wagman leaving the Houston Cougars. I will check again, but nothing yet about Connor Wagman. He has said, okay, no, he says he's coming back. So Connor Wagman does not want to go back to the SEC. I thought if he wanted to, that opportunity was going to be there for him. He is going to remain loyal to Houston, Texas, and good on him. He's found a spot. He got kicked out of A&M, basically. They didn't want him there anymore. So good on him. Wagman's back, and this is a Houston team that's playing for something next year. They don't have anybody in the portal. Louisiana has a bunch of opt-outs and a bunch of guys who aren't going to play, and sure, Houston has to deal with the defensive presence of the LSU Tigers, but guys, this is the end of the pre-Lane Kiffin era at LSU. Yes, Lane Kiffin's going to be at the game. There is the influence now of Lane Kiffin in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is not Lane Kiffin's staff. This is not Lane Kiffin's people. This is the last hurrah for everyone pre-Lane Kiffin era. They are throwing this away at LSU after the Texas Bowl. To me, it's just an end of an era, get rid of it, they're going to lose and be done with it. Kiffin's supposed to be there, it should be cool. I think Houston's going to beat him. I think Houston's going to be able to outscore this team. I think, you got the opt-outs defensively for LSU. Houston should be able to move the ball. Connor Wagman's been good. He's played SEC defenses before at the best level. Maybe not. But I think Houston does take this one. I really think so. Defensively, too, for Houston, where does LSU scare you on offense? Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere do they scare you offensively. I assume Michael Van Buren's going to be playing at quarterback for this game. I think Van Buren has not entered the portal just yet. I'd assume he's going to, though, once Trinidad Chambliss declares for the transfer portal after the playoffs. Maybe he's going to stay at Ole Miss because, I don't think so. Chambliss is definitely leaving. His OC came back to just coach the playoffs. He's definitely going to leave with the OC to LSU. He's going to get on that jet and leave with him. So I assume it's Van Buren. I mean, nothing about him leaving yet. Nussmeier, man, kind of brutal how his career just kind of ended. I think might be a late round draft pick, but I don't know. I mean, his brother-in-law is Will Campbell, so maybe the Patriots pick him up. Probably not. Probably just end up in the UFL or Canada or getting a job. I don't know. It sucks. But Van Buren's the quarterback. It's not like Nussmeier is not healthy. They just benched him, which is probably for the right reasons. Let's just be honest. Nussmeier was horrible this season. I don't know if Van Buren's much better, so at the same time, is it really Nussmeier's fault? I don't know. He was projected, guys, at the beginning of the year, Nussmeier was supposed to win the Heisman, or at least was in the top, top tier to win the Heisman and was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick. There's a lot of talk, all right, Nussmeier to New Orleans. Keep him in Louisiana. Perfect. You get a franchise guy right at LSU. You can go to the Saints and be a franchise quarterback. I don't even know if he's going to get drafted. Maybe late round pick, but not too optimistic currently on Garrett Nussmeier's NFL career. Defensively, yes, that's where LSU's built. That's what they're built upon. They just don't score. Last 4 games for LSU, 9 points against Alabama, 23 points against Arkansas. That's a bad defense. They barely could score against. 13 against Western Kentucky, and 13 points against the Oklahoma Sooners. Houston's going to score points. Give me Connor Wagman and the Cougars to go out there and just outpace this team. Games in Texas, which should favor Houston. Games in Houston, it's going to be a Houston home game. I'm sure there are going to be LSU fans at this game. I'm sure there's going to be quite a bit of LSU fans there to just see Lane Kiffin and kind of welcome Kiffin into LSU, but he's not coaching this game. He's going to be doing commentary on ESPN, helping, he's going to make an appearance in the commentary booth during this game on ESPN. He's not involved in this game. He's just going to be there. This is the end of the pre-Kiffin era in Baton Rouge, and Houston is going to slam the door shut. Give me the Houston Cougars to win this one. They are 3-point favorites, which I think they cover. 2.5-point favorites, which I think they cover. You can take -2.5. You can take -135. Give me the Cougars to win and cover in the Texas Bowl against the Louisiana State Tigers. We move on to our final bowl game of the week. Obviously, we do these videos every single Monday, but this next upcoming game is on Monday morning, and I'm not getting this next video out before this game, so here it is. The J-Lab Birmingham Bowl between the Georgia Southern Eagles and the Appalachian State Mountaineers. It is the very rare conference game in a bowl game, and on top of that is the even more rare rivalry game in bowl season. This is crazy. Deeper than hate in a bowl game for the first time ever. Georgia Southern, Appalachian State. They will play for a second time and the first time ever in history. They'll play twice in 1 year. Georgia Southern won the first matchup in Boone, North Carolina at Appalachian State 25-23, and they will do it now in Birmingham, Alabama. Problem for Appalachian State. Yeah, most of their guys aren't playing. A lot of their guys aren't playing. They have so many opt-outs because their team didn't think they were going to play a bowl game. They won 5 games, and there was a big thing going on where Georgia Southern just didn't have an opponent for bowl season. They were, because with Notre Dame opting out, with some other teams opting out as well, shame on them, there was no more 6-6 teams. And so they started calling a bunch of Power 4 5-7 teams, but no 5-7 team wants to go to Birmingham, Alabama at 1 o'clock on a Monday after Christmas. Nobody wants to do that. They don't want to practice for that game. So all the Power 4 teams declined. So they started asking a bunch of group of 5 teams, and the best option was Appalachian State, who has 5 victories, and it's a rivalry game. The problem is Appalachian State's got like 35 guys in the transfer portal, 40 guys in the transfer portal. Yeah, normally I'd go with the mindset and the philosophy here of, well, it's a rivalry game. It's going to be really competitive. No, this is going to be a straight blowout. It's going to be a straight blowout. How many guys does Georgia Southern have in the portal? 0. Appalachian State is 35 in the transfer portal. They're not winning this game, guys. They're not winning this game. I'm sorry. This is brutal. I believe, are both quarterbacks? I know AJ Swan's in the portal. I don't know if JJ Cole's in the portal too, right? Yeah, both quarterbacks are in the portal, 6'7" JJ Cole and AJ Swan. So I don't think Noah Gillian's in the portal yet. He's a freshman. I don't think he would transfer out. I need to check because there's so many. I got to go Control F on this one. Yeah, so it's going to be third-string quarterback, freshman out of Tupelo, Mississippi, and Noah Gillian starting. He's a true freshman. He's played a little bit, but again, it's been a lot of AJ Swan and JJ Cole this season. They've both played. They've gone back and forth between the two guys with injuries and whatnot. It's going to be true freshman Noah Gillian making a start in a bowl game, in a rivalry game against Georgia Southern. And now you don't get the case of, well, it's just another bowl game for Georgia Southern, whatever. They're a 6-6 team. No, nobody's opted out. Nobody's transferring. And now they're going to play their rival in a bowl game in Birmingham, and they're 7.5-point favorites because their rival doesn't have any of their starters playing. Yeah, Georgia Southern's not going to be afraid to run this up. Not at all. Credit to App State for actually stepping up and playing the game. I respect it. The game's not going to be close. Georgia Southern will win this game by 20+. App State's so depleted. J.C. French is still playing. O.J. Arnold's playing. J.C. French had a decent year this year in the Sun Belt. He's going, I believe he's staying for his senior year at Georgia Southern. This team has stuff to build upon. They have a bunch of players who are coming back next season. They're still getting ready for their 2026 year. A lot of underclassmen on this team, and they're playing their rivals. Obviously, they're going to want to bury this team in the Birmingham Bowl. Again, it's called Deeper Than Hate for a reason, but this might be a sad rendition of this bowl game, let's just be honest, because of the lack of personnel that the App State Mountaineers have. There's usually not blowouts in this game, I'll say that. The last time Georgia Southern won in a blowout against App State, 2014, they won by 20 points in Statesboro, Georgia. I just don't think this one's going to be competitive at all. I'm going to take Georgia Southern to dominate the Deeper Than Hate J-Lab Birmingham Bowl. I added some on there. But again, the Deeper Than Hate Birmingham Bowl, I'm going to take Georgia Southern. They were the team that was preparing for a bowl game. They've known they're going to be in a game. App State told their players, okay, thank you for a great season. We'll see you later. And all of a sudden, at the last second, they had to call everyone back up and say, who wants to play in the Birmingham Bowl? Guys, we have another game after half the guys on the entire team have already left for the portal. It's just hard to play a football game against just anybody, but now your rival, who's not going to let up and wants to blow you out, it's called Deeper Than Hate for a reason. Give me Georgia Southern and JC French to dominate the J-Lab Birmingham Bowl and cover the 7 points, cover the 7.5 points. If this gets up to 13.5, I don't care. Take Georgia Southern. Give me the Eagles to win in Birmingham and cover the spread as well. Folks, thank y'all for watching our college football bowl predictions here for Week 18. We'll be back next Monday for the second round of the college football playoffs and a bunch of more bowl games as well. So you're not going to want to miss that again every single Monday on the channel. We only got a couple more weeks left for this long college football season. We got a couple more still weekly college football predictions. Make sure to join us on Monday for that video. Folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you did disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back next week again for the college football playoff predictions and bowl predictions. So thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.